All right. Another day, another podcast. Which feels, as usual, I feel like I'm behind the curve on the whole podcast thing. Because now everybody, that's the joke, everybody's got a podcast. I'm one of everybody. I am one of everybody. And the initial reason that I'm doing this, I'll tell you the reason that I'm doing it now. Because all I really want to do at this point in my life is stand up. Which I think specifically is to be funny as myself. And I think there's a difference between doing that and sketch or improv or scripted stuff. Because in the beginning, I was doing a lot more in this podcast. I was doing like a lot more sketches for a while. And I stopped that because I realized I think I'm searching for myself. So this is a fancy way of saying, yes, I did watch the Gary Shandling documentary about stand-up and his life. And that was what he was trying to do through the stand-up, is to get to the essence of himself. That for him, in a way, it was a meditation. And I thought, that's exactly how I feel. And when the point of this podcast is that in my life, all I really want to do is stand up. And I can get up every night, but they're mostly 3 to 5 minute spots. If I want to do multiple spots, got to drive around. And so this commute is the one time I can do a 15-minute set, basically. So that's all this. This is a 15-minute set that I'm doing that's not written. I'm writing as I'm going. This is a bad 15-minute set that I'm doing for I'm not sure how many people. Libsyn has stats. I don't know where those stats are coming from. For all I know, I could be doing this they could all be bots. I might be doing this for 15 bots. But my thinking is, or the experiment here, is that if I remove everything in my life that I don't want to do, and only do what I want to do, really commit 100%, and just stop doing anything that I don't want to do. Just throw away everything and only do what I want to do and get it out there. What will happen, and what will become of that? And will it lead to me in the gutter, or will it lead to me in a mansion? I don't know. So let's just jump in. So I saw this sign for a marijuana dispensary. And the tagline for the dispensary was, "The best effing dispensary in America." And it was F***ing. Now here's what I find hysterical about this sign and the circumstances around it. Marijuana itself is legal, but the F word is still illegal. You can't print the F word on the poster. Now I'm for legalization of marijuana. It has medical benefits. I should be on it right now, probably, given my anxiety. But I also know that marijuana has some side effects. One of which that I've heard is that if you take a lot of it when you're still a kid before you're an adult, it changes how your brain, it changes your brain chemistry. Possibly not for the better. So I have heard copious stories of marijuana adversely affecting a young developing person's memory. I have never heard of a young person's brain being significantly damaged by saying the F word multiple times. I don't know where the science is on that. So between the two, printing the F word on a sign and intaking smoke into your lungs, from a safety perspective, I think the F word is maybe a little less harmful. But you can't say the F word. You can't print it. And when I say I've got to be clear, by the way, because now I think there's two F words. There's the F as in fornicate and F as in the gay slur. And I am not talking about the gay slur F word. That's bad. I'm talking about the fornicate F word. F is for fornicate, which is not bad. It's actually a good thing. It's odd to me that one of the most powerful curse words, the fornicate, the fornicate word, is tied to love. I mean, I feel like assault rifle should be the curse word. Magnum. That should be the curse word. Something that's tied to an actual, something that's related to a curse. I mean, if you think about the term curse word, I'd have to do some research on this, but I think it originates from the notion of putting a curse on somebody you don't like. I curse you to death, down to hell, and say I sent thee thither. Only in America have we taken the action of trying to harm someone by using a word that involves sex. You know what? Why don't you go have a pleasurable experience? Why don't you go have a human connection with another person and maybe have kids and have a meaningful life? Why don't you go and do that? Why don't you give yourself a lot of pleasure? Dragonflies piss me off. I'm changing the subject. I saw one flying around. The big bugs. It's just they're too big. It's too much. Like these dragonflies. There's just no... The smaller bugs, most... I don't get it, the willies with spiders as much as most people do. You know why? Because they do their job, they come in, they come out, they've got a plan, they kill the other bugs, unfortunately not the dragonflies. Got to be a big spider to kill the dragonfly, I would imagine. They're organized, I'm fine with the spiders, but the dragonfly, even though it's not hurting anything, it's annoying. There are people who are like the dragonflies of people. And I'm not talking size either, because I'm saying it's not necessarily bigger people. I'm not saying that at all. But there's something about the size of their annoyance that when they walk into a room, like their sphere of annoyance is much larger than most people. Like an average person, to really annoy you, first of all, you have to be talking with them. You have to kind of be in a situation. But there are certain people who just walking into the room, before they even open their mouth, I'm sitting there going, you annoy me. You annoy me now, and if you open your mouth, you're going to annoy me 1,000 times more. I can feel it. And of course, this means that I'm the one with the problem. I, by the way, and I fully admit, on several occasions, if not most of the time, I think I might be one of those annoying people. That's why I fold in. I think before I was annoying, I think when I was young, I would scream and yell and cry and be a huge, beyond a drama queen. But that was socially unacceptable. So then I had to put it all in. But the problem is it has to get out somehow. So it leaks out by me being neurotic and edgy and nervous and, always moving, which causes the annoyance. So really, if you don't want me to be annoying, you should allow me to scream and yell at you at the top of my lungs at the drop of a dime, which is my true self. I think that accomplished something. I like where we're going with that. That's fair. That feels on correct, I would say. All right, well, we covered the dragonflies. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know how to top that at this point. No clue how to top that. No game plan either, by the way. Other than just putting up content on a daily basis. I don't know if that's helpful. Is it even possible for something to go viral? I think if everyone is trying to go viral, I think nobody goes viral. I think that's what's happening. Because in the Gary Shandling documentary, his big break came when he was on The Tonight Show, and everybody saw him. Or one of his big breaks, I should say. Was it the, life-changing thing? Well, according to him, it was. Impressive. I should also admit, by the way, but anyway, part of the reason why it was so powerful to be on Carson was because such a huge chunk of America watched Carson. So it was a huge amount of exposure all in one shot. And I don't know if that's even a thing now. I think, what gets the biggest exposure now, I think, are Marvel movies. Is anyone watching network TV anymore? I mean, Netflix is hot right now, but even so, there's so much content on Netflix. And I also think that we've gotten to the point where advertisers and rich, expensive corporations have seeped their way into Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter with ads and other ways of manipulating and getting their stuff out there. Facebook especially. So what does that mean for the people who don't have those means? I can put my content on Facebook, but who is Facebook showing it to? And how much do I have to pay to show it to more people? I think we're going to get to the point pretty soon where Facebook won't show it to anybody until you pay them. Facebook is basically just going to turn into Dropbox. Just storage for all my thoughts. Thought storage. And if you want anyone to see it, first of all, you got to pay, and second, you just got to send a link. I'm also wondering if, because everything is so geared towards being online now, if the only way to promote myself is actually having conversations with people, and that's terrifying. I don't like having conversations with people. I'm bad at it. Or let me rephrase, I'm good at faking it. But the reality is, all I want to talk about is me, and the rest of the time I'm pretending to care about you. And I'm good at pretending. I used to be better, but I'm getting old and tired. Am I running the light? Hey! Hey-oh! I don't know what my agenda is with this 15-minute set that is not at all written. I guess I'm hoping that the one person listening is going to be a club owner or a network executive that says, you know what? I see something there. Even though there's no empirical evidence, because he has no audience. So there's no way for me to actually know one way definitively or the other if anything he's saying is even remotely close to either something that is a joke or at the very least a funny idea or concept. But in spite of all of that, we're going to cast him as the lead in our next Marvel movie. Again, with the black and yellow license plates. That's what I'm seeing. These are becoming very popular. In fact, it almost feels like they're becoming the standard. Which I guess is a throwback to the 70s license, the 70s California license plate. And they bother me. These license plates, the black and the yellow bothers me. There's a police car flying down the street right behind me. Just turned off his lights. I guess the emergency's over. I've never seen that before. He was flashing his lights, and then he turned off, and now he's right beside me, which is freaking me out. So what's going on? Why were the lights on, and now the lights are off? Did somebody call and say, never mind? Or was he using the lights to just kind of get through that part on Magnolia Boulevard that kind of gets heavy with the traffic? You know what? I hope it was the second one. That's how much I hate that part of Magnolia. Is he abusing his power? Great. Like, I almost feel better if he abuses his power that way, because maybe he's channeling his mischievousness through something that's not a big deal versus a real abuse of power. Well, I got to wrap this up. I got to come up with a closer now, even though I didn't have an opener or a middling. Good closing bit. Well, I think the IBS would be the closing bit. That would be my guess. We've got to talk about that. It's still happening. I went back on the sugar last night. I had a relapse because I'm not in a good place. So I had a black and white cookie because I wanted to feel like Seinfeld, which is kind of stupid because the episode of Seinfeld where Seinfeld had the black and white cookie, he ended up getting sick from the cookie. So it's probably not a good omen. But yes, the IBS is still a concern today. I'm in a diarrhea phase. That's all. I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes it lasts a week, 2 weeks. It just means I can't do certain things, like leave a bathroom for too long. Man, there's an idea. There's an idea for a horror movie. It's called IBS, and it's about somebody who can't leave his house because he has IBS, and now he's trapped in the house, and he has to choose between: do I let the murderer slash me to pieces, or am I able to run fast enough to make it to the master bathroom? Because that's where the toilet paper is, and I forgot to fill the toilet paper in the bottom bathroom. I don't know why I'm not the king of Hollywood.